What is up, Cigar Club family? We are live at Tabacalera La Isla in Santiago, Dominican Republic with my man, Hostos Fernandez.
Nice to have you here.
Yes.
Happy to finally have Cigar Club here.
It's showtime, baby. We're here this week, blending new projects. Actually, most of the rollers right now are working on some newer stuff that's in production for us as well. And I figured what better way to start this off than to get the factory tour, the behind the scenes, and give you guys a look inside La Isla.
Starting from the sign itself.
The coolest sign in any cigar factory
we're trying. Come on,
ever.
Thank you, appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're gonna start in the sorting area because at Tabacalera La Isla, we don't do, as I mentioned, the bulks fermentation.
Yep.
We buy our tobacco ready to go. The only thing that we do after we buy it is we sort it again. So the tobacco that we get has been fermented, has had all the process that it needs to have. So when it gets here, let's say I buy a bale of ligero tobacco. Even though it's a bale of ligero tobacco, we have to sort that again because we might get some thin ligero, some middle of the road ligero, or some thick ligero. It's a more complicated process, but why do we do it? Because for blend purposes, it's a better way for you to be able to maintain a blend, consistent in the flavor. Because usually the idea when you're doing a blend of smoke, you have a range of flavors. The idea is you always have to stay inside that range because that reminds the smoker what they like about the cigar, you know? Right. So you maintain that with good sorting of good tobacco. That's the only way you can control it as best as possible. Basically what they're doing is, as you can see, the bale, the tobacco is pressed.
Okay.
So the first part of the process is literally just separating leaves all day.
Yeah, it looks like
it's like compacted.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard as a rock.
Yeah, because that's when they do the bale of tobacco, they press it with a machine to be able to get that shape on it. So the first part is literally just separating leaves. Why? You can't give this to a cigar maker. Cigar maker needs tobacco loose, sorted, ready to be used.
Right, so their job here is to make the roller's job as easy as humanly possible. So their main focus is
the rollers need to get tobacco and make cigars. They don't have to sort, they don't have to check if it's good. That's our job. They just need to sit down and make cigars.
All right, so what's in here?
In here,
de secado.
it's our drying room. You can feel a little bit of ammonia in here right away because this is where some of the filler tobaccos that we get have a little bit of wetness to them.
And so you take them in
we
here.
have the dehumidifier that takes out wetness. We also have these hot lights that we turn on when need be. How do I know this room is working, Dave? If the tobacco's too wet, when the cigar maker gets tobacco and they start doing whatever they do, if it's too wet and they do this, it's gonna stay squished together. You're gonna have a cigar that's a little plugged, and it's gonna taste a little weird because there's no air.
Yeah.
And the other option is if it's too dry and they do this, it's gonna break off in their hands. So how do I know this is working? You see how it opens up by itself?
Yep.
It's not too wet. There's no tobacco in my hands, it's not too dry.
Yep.
So here we have that middle of the road process that we're looking for. Even this one feels a little bit wet though, touches it, you can see the difference.
Oh yeah.
You see how it feels? So we still
and it doesn't crunch or anything.
Yeah, we still need to get a little bit of juice out of there, which is wetness. So some filler
compared
tobacco.
to something like this.
You can hear it. You can hear it. Yeah. Compared to this, you get nothing. But you got to be careful. It can be, if it's too dry like this, when they do this, you get a lot of ripped tobacco. So this is where we have to be able to find that middle of the road line. This is the only thing about tobacco. There's no point where you get to and it doesn't happen. Right. Nothing else happens.
You're constantly having to look.
You still have to be on top of it because if you leave this here, and you forget about it, then the tobacco is not going to work. This is a Habano. Look at that. Look at
red.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Viable.
So what they're doing with this is, you got a whole leaf, you got two sides. So what they're doing is they're taking the stem out. So what they do is this. And you get the whole stem out that way, and then you get the two sides to be able to make the cigar. Because this is what you use. One leaf gives you enough for two cigars. Sometimes people use a big ass leaf for a 4x40 cigar and they use 2 parts of it.
Oh, they can cut it in half.
It all depends on how the veins are. Because you always need to cut as high as you can because the thicker veins are closer to the stem. So some of them might work for 2 cigars. If it's a small cigar. The dream is to get it to the end.
Yep.
Full of tables. But so far so good. This is what I was explaining to you. We got, this is teams. We got the buncher and we got the roller.
Yep.
The buncher is the guy that works the binder and the fillers. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're separated on the tables. He already knows what the blend is because he's been doing it for a couple of weeks now. And he just goes to town. You see that separation I tell you?
Yeah.
But the important part is he's putting a little bit lower than the tips because we always want the tip. Never cover the tip because you get more flavor from the tip of the leaf. So when we do the distribution, we try to put it a little bit below the tips.
I see.
And this is what I told you yesterday. Every single bunch is weighed in this factory. Every single one needs to be weighed. He does the bunch, weighs it between 14 and 15. That one was 1460. ¿Cuánto anda este? No, this is a Toro. This is 15 to 16. I thought they were still doing the Robusto.
So he has to add a little more.
You see what he did? He fills it with his fingers and adds a little bit more.
Yep.
Porque tú andan entre 15 y 16, ¿verdad? Yeah, because they changed the Toros.
Awesome.
Applying the wrapper. People think it's, oh.
It was not pretty.
I've done it before. It was uglier than yours, I assure you.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, putting on the wrapper, people think it's just taking a leaf and wrapping the cigar with it. It's a very detailed and complicated experience. I tell you this because I've tried and I don't have the hands for it. I know what needs to be done, but to have the hands to be able to do it, I can't do it. So one of the first details is, notice that he uses this metal because it's a better way for you to be able to stretch out the tobacco. Sometimes they put a little bit of a damp cloth, they rub it a little bit because you're able to really stretch out the wrapper and see the best area to cut around when he does the cut for it. And then everything is triple cap. People call it triple cap. People usually think it's 3 turns from the wrapper itself, but it's actually 2 plus the cap. So you see the 3 steps on it, So after they've been rolled.
This is my favorite part.
After they've been rolled, then we do the wheels or the half wheels. We put them here, has the code for every cigar maker, and we can put it in the system and they can get paid.
Oh, I see. So they're paid per cigar?
Per cigar. They're paid by what we call by production. What they make is what they earn. So that's one of the reasons why we need to have tobacco sorted correctly, tobacco prepared correctly, because if I'm not giving them materials, they're not making money, and then they get mad and then they leave.
Right.
So we want happy cigar makers, happy cigars. So we always try to maintain always the tobacco correctly and everything ready. Again, they get materials, they sit down, they make cigars. That's what we need from cigar makers.
Yep.
I decided to put the aging room in the shipping department because it's less moving around the factory with cigars, with finished product.
Okay.
The aging room right here goes to inspection. We'll go there now.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit more cigars than the last time you were here.
Wow, a lot more.
No. These and that second row are your stuff.
These are your cigars.
These are your cigars.
They will soon be in your hands.
I'm not saying what they are because you're the one that needs to say what they are.
They'll find out soon enough.
Right now we have about, I want to say 90,000 cigars in here.
Nice.
I used to say 1 million, now I say 90, but it's my 90.
Exactly.
It's my 90,000 cigars. Well, it's your cigars and my cigars.
Well, there you go, Cigar Club family. The grand tour of the La Isla factory here in Santiago. A lot of moving parts here, dude.
A lot of moving parts.
But it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's always interesting for somebody to come to the factory. They always appreciate the product more because they think it's just putting brown tobacco in the cylinder and you smoke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of specific details in the process. That those details, some people might say that's not important. For me, it is because it shows up in the cigar you're smoking. From construction to taste, to power, to strength, I mean everything. Every little detail that I'm talking to you about here is something that shows up here. Even the mood of the workers here. I told you yesterday, I like to keep my workers happy.
Yep.
Everybody gets paid well enough compared to other places, because that's the other part. You got to pay them well to keep them too, because they're hard to find.
Sure.
But I always try to keep the workers happy. We have a very good environment here because it shows up in the product.
It totally does.
Everything shows up in the product at the end of the day, from the mood of the company to the type of tobaccos you're using to the way you're working them. Nothing's perfect. Shit happens, but shit happens in life. You always got to be on top of everything. If there's any problems that might occur, you got to be there to resolve them quickly.
Yep.
Because nothing is going to be perfect always. The main point is you figure out a way to pivot and resolve the problem.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no problems here yet. Let me knock down here too.
Yeah, knock down there just as a double. No, well, we're gonna go start blending some cigars,
the fun
and
part of
we
it.
got podcasts. We got a lot more coming, but hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Peace.